Our Seahawks looked fast. Our Seahawks looked violent. And with 11 sacks, we dismantled the New York Football Giants. I happened to be there live. We'll go over all of that. And of course, the nooks and crannies that make this 3 in, 3 outs. We're going to get the Brandan we got from the flock. We, of course, have the MVC, the most valuable cranny. Who will it go to? Stick around to the very end for this week's 3 in, 3 out, part of the Seahawkers Podcast Network. Let's do it. Welcome once again to the newest edition of 3 in, 3 out, the most unique Seahawks recap show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandan Schultz. Brandan, 8 days for this guy right here. 8 days, 2 coasts, planes, trains, the automobiles, maybe even a hoverboard. I don't even know, Brandan. 2 W's, 1 in the PNW, 1 in Lumen, East Rutherford. 24-3, demolishing what's not a good Giants team, but I don't care. We don't make our schedule. Brandan, do you make our schedule?
I don't make the schedule, but I am about to start making your schedule so you can prepare to be at every single game from here on out. You've got a winning streak going. We got to keep it going with you, Clinton.
Give me the stickers. I got the matching sneakers. I'll go out there and I think my resume, my LinkedIn will just be like, raise the Hawkra. That's it. What does this guy do? He raises the Hawkra, and it's something, it's something I take a lot of pride in. And of course, Brandan, I was at the Meadowlands, as I was saying, great game. We'll get into the nooks, the crannies on 3 in, 3 out, as we always do. In the lot, I'm watching you and Adam afterwards. How many folks do you guys have joining you live during the aftermath, the party, the live and uncatfished?
Yeah, it was probably our most successful post-game show with over 170, maybe 180 folks tuning into the live stream. So yes, if you can make it live, it is a party. We did a giveaway for those who are watching. And so, yeah, something to think about whenever you're, after a Seahawks game. Maybe I should go find these guys on YouTube. And not only do I get to enjoy it live with a bunch of people, I might win something too.
You might win something to it. That's youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. And of course, if you like the audio stream, well, we love that too. That's out there on every single major platform. So go find it. The likes, the comments, the subscribes, they all raise the Hawkra. So you could have a resume just like mine, and we could share in the raising of the 12s. So Brandan, this was a ton of fun. I will definitely give some, as we talk about the nooks and the crannies, as we go into this, I will definitely give you some opinions on what I saw. On really a good angle that I had some lower bowl seats there. I got to also meet Wilson Kahn for the first time ever. So him and I are trying to connect pregame. We're texting each other. And finally, I'm like, we think we're in the same section. And he's like, yeah, I'm in 126. I'm like, dude, you are the exact opposite section. Like, you draw a diagonal line across the field, like exactly opposite. So I got to sprint during halftime, meet him halfway. That was a ton of fun. So, we do, of course, PNW Prop Stars with Wilson every single week. And it's just kind of cool to, meet good folk in real life.
Meet for the first time after all these times meeting virtually. So that's always fun.
It really is. It was a blast, dude. It was super, super fun. So I'm happy that my 2-day tour, my 2-week tour has come to an end, in the sense that I was joking beforehand that, I need a bye week, Brandan. I need a bye week. Yeah.
Especially ahead of this road trip that you're going to have to make for however many consecutive games this win streak keeps going.
Let's go. Skyline Chili's next. That's it. Let's get the Skyline Chili. Get me on a bus in Cincinnati. I'll be there. And of course, on 3 in, 3 out, we're going to go through the ins. We're going to go through the outs. And Brandan, we have just one rule on 3 in, 3 out. But this has been a scramble week. My car won't start. I got a sick kid. Of course, work is busy as can be. And I love that. So the one rule has escaped my noggin once again. Even the sticker I had, I can't find that sticker.
I hear you, and I know maybe I shouldn't be shocked that you forgot this again, but I am. I am as shocked as Daniel Jones looked, as if he was possessed by Scott Bakula, quantum leaping into Monday Night Football. But the thing to remember is, Clinton, when we win, we start with an in.
That's it. When we win, we start with an in. I can't believe I keep forgetting it, although I'm grateful that I keep forgetting it. All right, hit that whammy, Brandan. Let's go. Okay, folks, let's dive into the first nook, the first cranny. And yes, when we win, we do start with an in. Thank you, Brandan. I'm going to jump in and give some love right here. Q1, 12:33 to go. And what I want to simply say, Brandon, is look, there's a lot of Jamal Adams hate still in this world. There's a lot of sports hate for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand injuries are a real thing and the best ability is availability. I get all that. And I get that people don't like the trade. They still despise the trade, think the Jets pulled one over on us. And in some ways, maybe they did. I could tell you, I was sitting there live. I'm sure you could see it from your living room that when he's on the field, the dude is still a dynamic difference maker. This is the particular play. Believe it or not, Brandon, Daniel Jones is under a little duress in this play.
Wait, yeah. Can you narrow it down a little bit further?
I wish I could. So it's, again, early Q1, right? So he's in duress. He's scrambling out right. Of course, he's in shotgun because they wouldn't dare go under center just for obvious reasons. And he ends up dumping the ball off to the right. I think it's to a running back. This is on a rewatch for me.
Paris Campbell.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's Paris Campbell, number 0, Paris Campbell, right? So it's dumped off to Paris Campbell. And what we all got to witness was the juice that Jamal Adams does bring, right? Sticks his hat in there, runs through Campbell, puts him on his back, fired up at the sidelines right there. And from the stands, again, there were a lot of Seahawks fans there, dude. A lot of Seahawks fans there, which I know you heard on the broadcast.
Oh, yeah, we heard
the place went nuts. Like everybody was fired up because we're Seahawks fans. So we're going to be louder than you anyway. And with that, though, that was like the first thing that just ignited the Hawkra in Lumen East. I love seeing Jamal Adams play football. Of course, we need him healthy. When this whole thing Voltrons together, we got something cooking here, Brandon. So I want the in and the love and the glory to go to Jamal Adams for that big stick on Paris Campbell to start us off.
I was happy to see him fired up about it. I was happy to see the sidelines electrified, and it sounds like the crowd was too. So a cool moment for him, and unfortunately it gets overshadowed with the injury. But yeah, imagine that one drive and having a healthy Adams throughout the game. Although, yeah, I am curious to know if Adams isn't healthy, do we have the Devin Witherspoon game that we got? Because it was him moving over into the to playing the slot after Jamal went out. He was playing outside when Jamal was playing that. And so I wonder if that was an intentional switch after Jamal went out, and we ended up getting the Witherspoon game that we got. We're gonna have to wait and see, but still very cool play by Jamal, and the guy has it. He'll be back with it once he recovers from his concussion.
And he will be back. We got the bye like we talked about. We're in Cincinnati next, and that team's they're not exactly firing on all cylinders quite yet. So we hope to keep it that way. And I think the thing that folks are, I think, super excited about, Seahawks fans, is just like when we have the full complement of safety and DB weapons. When it is Tariq, when it is Witherspoon, when it is Trey Brown, Julian Love, and Jamal Adams. And that's the 5, and however they want to slice it. I thought the cool part for me too was Adams playing didn't mean Julian Love wasn't on the field. That was not the case. Julian Love, I think, was out there for, every snap Adams took. So they were just like, we're going to go do modern NFL things with this really Swiss Army like, a stance. And you're going to have to guess where people are coming from. It's weaponry. And that's what tickles me, man. So very excited about that. All right, Brandon. Well, it's going to be a ton of fun. And we got time for him to heal up his head, and he'll be back. So why don't we hit that first whammy? There's not a lot of outs to talk about, but it's 3 and 3 outs. So we found 3. Let's do the thing. This one's going to be a nitpick on the old Coacherino, okay? We'll start here because I think it's one of the simplest ones to get through. Doesn't need too much nuance. So we go up 14-3 to close out the half. The whole stadium's deflated. It's great, right? Besides the Seahawks fans, which is like 25% of the fans. People are already like, it's over, season's over, because now they got to go play the Dolphins, the Giants do, and then the Bills. Like, good luck. And so they recognize if we can't win this game in the next half, our season's over. Like that was their fate, and it is over. Spoiler alert, Brandon, it is over. So it was really cool just to watch the
The
just
deflation.
getting the complete deflation of all their hopes and dreams on this season go away. It was very joyful. With that, I just can't understand the old coach here when we get the ball to start the third quarter, but we do the thing where we get the late touchdown and we're getting the ball. Cool. Very, very cool. Great. Makes all the senses. We get a good drive going and Gino's back out there. And we're like, okay, this is interesting. Get a good drive going. And then instead of taking a chip shot field goal, which in bad years, Myers seems to be the range we got to stick to, we opt out of that and we get the 4th and 1 where Gino's not quite as sharp, kind of throws it quite a bit behind Charbonnet. It's not on Sharp. Nice play by the defender. And we turn the ball over. You guys covered it. Adam and you talked about it a little bit though. Reflecting back a few days later, I love being aggressive sometimes, but going up 14 against that team that cannot do nothing, we let them hang around the game, and a better team would have gotten back in that game. Dude, take the points, kick the field goal, coach. I don't get it. I'm not sure if your take has changed in the few days after.
No, in fact, I reflected on it a little bit more. And the problem that I have with it is because how many times has this team gone into halftime with the lead and then find a way, like in the game against the Rams, to where they came out in the second half kind of flat, and it allowed the Rams to just steamroll over the team in the second half. And it was the worst half of football we saw from the Seahawks this year. That almost had that same effect by turning it here in terms of, okay, you come out of the half, you drive down the field, and then on a 4th and 1, and whether it was you want to give critique to the play call on that play, if you want to give critique just for the idea of going for it on that play, either way, the result was the same, is that you didn't make it. The Giants get the ball back, and then it just has that deflating feeling after halftime. You come out, you want to score points. Yeah, you didn't get the touchdown that you wanted, but coming out of the halftime, you put together a solid drive, you put the field goal on the board, and then you're up 2 touchdowns, and it kind of feels like the Giants aren't even in it anymore. And instead, like you said, they're hanging around.
Yeah, and you could feel it. That was like the palpable moment in the stands where the crowd had a little bit of life, and they were like, "Oh crap, we got a chance here." Now it gets flamed out in a miraculous way just a little bit later. However, that's not the point of this show. And Charbonnet, I think he does the wrong thing upon the snap, because if you go back and watch, Gino is like trying to hand it off to somebody, and it's just like he's not there. So maybe it's a bit of a mess up. And then Gino's into got to make something happen mode, find a way mode. All good. Doesn't execute the pass where it needs to be. It should be on the outside shoulder. All right. And again, nice play by the Jets guy to break it up, and Charbonnet just couldn't handle it. So those things are all true. I'm just like, kick the field goal. And also,
I don't know how a Jets player got on the field for that pass breakup, but it was incredible.
Well, sometimes I do these things, right, Brandon? Sometimes I do these things. Yeah. The Jets guy was there. I was having a couple of beers. It's all good. Let's hit that whammy. Oh, it reminds me. We were sitting down in Seattle, in South Seattle there, and that's EJ was hanging out and Keith Ketover's hanging out, and we had the concept came up at our end of the table that Keith Ketover would fact check me for every show I do. I'm like, dude, that'd be a long show. And he was rattling off like 3 or 4 things like that I've said in the last like few weeks that just are
I can't even catch them all in real time. I try, but
exactly. Hilarious. They're endearing. That's hysterical. Hope people get a laugh about it, because I certainly do. So would have been a lot tougher to play the New York Jets because the New York Football Giants, well, they stink. All right, we're back on the fun side of the ledger here. I love it. All right, let's see. This I absolutely love. Q3, 1:17 to go, 14-3 game. The Giants are on Seattle's 6-yard line. We know what the play is. The play is, Witherspoon doing his thing, jumping. I don't know if it's a curl, whatever the hell he's running. It ain't effective. Witherspoon doing his thing, and he's gone for 6. But Brandon, the play within the play, the nook, the cranny. Yeah, you got Tariq Woolen speeding down the right-hand side. That's cool. Nice cutback by Witherspoon. That's cool. But it's who is it that we see sprinting off camera onto camera to make sure this goes for 6, Brandon? Who is that hero? Because not all heroes wear crepes. Who's that guy?
Seahawks number 20, Julian Love sprinting down the field. Yeah, you had Woolen that was there helping to sprint too, but it was Love who sprinted down and then executed the block on the defender that was trying to run down Witherspoon. It was kind of funny after the game listening to Spoon say that he was a little bit disappointed because Reek and Love both made him look slow. But the fact is, you had 3 guys flying down the field. 3 is better than 1, and we got 6.
Yeah, but great, Matt. Great numerology there, Brandon. Well done. And there was some great stuff on Twitter too. That was comical. That was a springboard from that moment too. Somebody put up the play and said something about, it was like Woolen speed or something like that, like having to adjust it, or Witherspoon speed. I think it was about Witherspoon speed, like going up in Madden. And Julian Love sees that and he comments like, yeah, he's like, yeah, mine should go up a few ticks too. It's like I'm the one coming off camera, like the reverse DK, right? And that's the game, man. That's literally that was the game, or figuratively that was the game to go 21-3. Talk about deflating. People are leaving at that very moment. They all passed out these cute little white towels. They're throwing the towels on into the field. They're just pissed off. There was a guy like 2 feet from me being like, we spent all this money and then we're just getting killed at home. The season's over. It's over. Like, it was just meltdown city. Glorious to be part of that.
Love on a 3-play sequence that culminated with. It was the 4th and 1 where Daniel Jones scrambles to the right side. Mafe stumbles a little bit. And unfortunately, we don't get sack number 12 there. But we get Daniel Jones scrambling outside, and it was Love who makes the stop along the sidelines to keep Jones from getting any closer to the end zone. And then on the very next play, he was right there. If, Bobby Wagner and Nuoso, I think, combined for the tackle on the first down after that, before the interception, but Love was right there. So here he was around the ball on 3 straight plays. And on one play where the play went to the opposite side of the field, but he was beelining down the field to make the block.
All the love for number 20. I love it. Let's whammy. We got to get to an out. Okay, so I mentioned I was there several times. So just to picture where I was, right? So lower bowl, back, if you're at the stadium, back right corner on the visitor side, right? Just a couple of rows away. So like, going to be a bear. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. Let's go get the tickets. So if I'm looking straight ahead, I could basically look right down the sideline. So really nice look right down the Seahawks sideline. So pretty cool spot. And of course the seat's angled a little bit. So you're kind of watching where you're supposed to watch. What I liked about it was it gave you enough of like an all 22 look, but without being like so far removed that you didn't know down, you couldn't tell distance. So it was kind of nice blend visually. This particular play, this one on the broadcast, when I went back and watched, they blamed this on Drew Lock. This is not the JSN drop. That's a drop. He should catch that ball.
Yeah.
They were heard Pete say, "Oh, that could be a little bit better, a little sharper from Drew." I disagree. Catch the ball, young man. It's what you're being paid for. But this is another JSN thing. So this is Q2, 153 to go. So Lock's in the game. And all of a sudden, the hose knows, Brandon. The hose knows. He's slinging the ball downfield a little bit more aggressively than we were with Gino. And fine, that's maybe more Drew's game. This is a particular play where Drew's rolling out to his right-hand side, and he's got Njigba on, like, kind of just a little deep post, whatever, 20, 25 yards downfield. And he's sort of open. So on the broadcast, if you go back and watch this, it appears as if Drew Lock threw the ball 3 yards behind Njigba. And that's fine. My angle was right down this thing, and I could see exactly what Drew was looking at. Of course, a little bit different angle perspective. And what he intended was, like Tyler Lockett or somebody, was to sit. He got into such a soft zone. And as Drew is firing it, you could just see that, like, there's nobody. If he just puts the brakes on a little bit, he'll be able to sit there and there'll be nobody on him. There's a guy like across Njigba's left shoulder, right? So he's like actually in front of him. And it's just these like little nuances that maybe he's just not quite there yet, and he needs just more reps. This ain't a yellow flag about JSN, but the broadcast said it was on Drew and he threw it behind him. But you could see Drew pointing, being like, "Dude, sit down. Like
Yeah.
the pot, that was just sit. That's going to be like, he just stops, puts the brakes on. It would have hit him in the gut, just in the gut, where he could just do a Tyler Lockett fall forward and first down and away we go. So I just wanted to call that out because I had a real unique perspective on it. And for JSN, we just got to get a little bit sharper, a little bit more on page, which I know is difficult. Not a lot of reps, not a lot of targets. And now you have a backup quarterback, which means even less time with that person. So a little bit of love for Drew there, a little bit of an out for JSN.
I definitely got the sense watching in real time that breakdown there was more of a communication issue between those two guys. And because I thought, okay, Drew is trying to get the ball to Jackson because these are guys that maybe developed chemistry together in the offseason because he's the rookie working with the second team quarterback. And so they probably had more of an opportunity to link up in the offseason and in the preseason. Yeah. And yeah, if that's what you saw, then 100% Jackson probably was being expected by Drew to do that, and it didn't make the connection because, man, if they make that there, fortunately, we got the big third down play right after that with Noah Fant going down the sideline and nearly scoring the touchdown there. K9 able to punch it in. But yeah, 2nd and 10, you don't have to get to 3rd and 10, and yeah, you keep moving the ball with Drew.
Yeah, the Noah Fant heroics. For those who do watch PNW Prop Stars, this is why gambling is tough sometimes, people. So I had Noah Fant plus 380 to score a touchdown. So oh yeah, plus 380. So I'm sitting there in the stands, and Wilson's texting me, and he's across the way. He's like, Fant, and I'm like, I don't think he got in. I'm far away too. I'm like, I think he's about a half yard short. And it turns out that what I saw was right. Cause again, I had a line right down there. I could see him. Like, I think he's a little short. And he was, that between that and not kicking the extra field goal, let's just put it that way, that it cost me a couple of shekels. It's okay. We got the W. Hit that whammy, please. We are up on our last in. The thing is, there's a cornucopia here. I have like 4 others I could legitimately go to. It is 3 in, 3 out. I'm not going to take something off the board, but the obvious things and the obvious ones, even the Witherspoon play and the sacks, et cetera, not going to go there per se. However, Brandon, a little quiz for you. If you had to say, who is the number 1 friend of the show? Seahawk friend of the show. Who's that?
Yeah, probably your best friend in real life for how much love he gets on the show. It would be Miles Adams, number 95.
That's correct. It is number 95. We are besties in real life. It's very real. So Miles Adams is a friend of the show, right? We interviewed him last year. Awesome dude. And a little bit of a stat for you here. This was the most snap percentage that he had gotten in 4 games. He had 1 more snap than week 3. He was good in week 3. He was very good in week 4. Of course, lots of folks were, but maybe a little simple math or determination is when you give Miles Adams more snaps, we get more sacks. It seems to be portraying that, going that way. Last week was his highest so far, 4 sacks. This week, he beats it by a little bit and we get 11 sacks. I do want to call out his play, Q4, 10:21 to go. I'm right by that end zone. So this is right front row seat for this bad boy.
Wait, were you at the game?
Brandon, I was at the game, right? And so I'm right by this end zone again, mid Q4, if you will. And I just want to give some love to Adams because lots of folks are going to talk about lots of other sacks and plays here. Miles Adams beats 2 dudes. Now I realize they're 2 giants linemen that are, maybe equates to 1 NFL guy at this point, but he takes on 2 guys, kind of stands them up. And then Miles Adams, his game is speed. Yes, he's actually quite a powerful dude. Yes, he could play one technique and play nose. Yes, he can stop the run because he's a good NFL ball player. His best attribute is probably his speed, his get up the fieldness. Engages 2 dudes, shreds them, and gets around to the right side, and then puts a licking on Daniel Jones. Like, doesn't miss tackle, form tackle. He's going nowhere, just at the dude's waist. Jones crumples to the ground, and Miles gets up in a big celebration, his first of the year. I was super proud of the dude, man. So made me happy. I'm getting all the feels. I love number 95. He's getting it in.
A little proud dad, proud best friend moment for Clinton Bonner at the game. And you're not wrong about the idea of him showing out on this play because of that double team. It was either the center guard combo or the guard tackle combo
Mhm.
that he was between those two guys. And then as soon as Jones starts to go to his left a little bit, Miles
Mhm.
is going around to the right of both of them. They both look as if they're still standing still, and Miles gets the sack.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the awesome color commentary on there because it's exactly it. But it showcases the smarts within the moment too. So it's not just speed, it's not just he's a powerful dude, but observant, sees what's happening, and then he sheds the guys, and he's in literally in Jones's lap in a heartbeat. So loved it. Loved Miles Adams. As you know, I was at the game. Hit the whammy. All right, one more out. I witnessed this, Brandon. I saw this one. So it's
Wait,
it's Q3
you witnessed it
50.
live?
Yeah, I was there. I was at the game. So it's Q3 5:07 to go. Daniel Jones is in shotgun. Go figure, right? This particular play. This is where we got. Oh, what do we? Oh, okay. So this particular play, like our run fits and our run scheme. I mean, at this point, I know the Giants are not world beaters, but Detroit has run over everybody ever since us, and even the game before us, but not against us, right? This is a good run defense. This particular play is a little read option, and Jones keeps it. And within a heartbeat, if he did not keep it, if he handed it off to the running back, Brandon, who is there to kill that running back if he did get the ball? Who was that?
You did not pick this as an out just so you could highlight Miles Adams on back-to-back ins and outs, did you?
I'm not licking toads, Brandon. I was there, and what I saw was Miles Adams destroy the running back. Now he didn't have the ball, but
No,
you can imagine if
if
he
he
had
did have the ball on that read option, would have been his third stop on the day. Another tackle for a loss for Miles Adams.
another
But
in,
no,
probably.
it was not to be because Daniel Jones pulled that ball, took it himself, and then what happened?
Well, Daryl Taylor also feels like he has to go chase the running back, and he's duped. And it's just like one of those things. Like, hey, dude, it's like where we just gave Adams some shine for like observing and reacting. This was kind of the opposite, right? So Taylor's going to wear the out here. He just full on commits to the running back. Meanwhile, hey, Adams got that covered. You don't got to worry about that. And right around the edge goes Daniel Jones. Like, oh man, Taylor, I'm pretty sure your responsibility on something like that is you're the edge guy. If this is a run option, your responsibility is the quarterback. So we can't do exactly that. So in a game of a lot of great, maybe picking some nits, but Taylor's got to wear the out here, man.
Man, Daryl Taylor on the defense. When you look at the PFF grades, he is at the bottom and deservedly
Mm.
so. A guy on the field for 40 out of the 75 defensive snaps. And on a day where you had multiple pressures by every single defensive lineman, Daryl Taylor had one pressure
Mm.
and one tackle and one missed tackle. So on a day where the defensive line went crazy, Daryl Taylor had a game where he looked like he deserved a lot fewer snaps than he had on the day. And this play, I think, demonstrates just kind of the overall day that Taylor had on the field.
Interesting. And that was one particular, microcosm, and then the stats back it up. So good pull by you.
Cam Young even had a pressure, and he was
Yeah,
only on the field for 14 pass rush snaps.
yeah.
Taylor had double that. And Cam Young is a nose tackle, not even a pass rusher.
Let me tell you what Cam Young looks like live, Brandon. Cam Young's a big boy, man. Really, really cool to see him move people. Which is really
You
interesting.
wouldn't have picked that up on the TV copy. It was a
No way. No, you got to see.
day.
You can't look at girth like that if you're not right next to it, right? So there's just no way. It doesn't translate. So the interesting part as we roll forward and roll past the bye week is what do we do in the game against Cincinnati? And in the sense that Hall played really well, like, good. Hall played good. He was disruptive. Nuosu, you're not taking him off the field. 2 more sacks. Mafe, he was a freaking monster again. Gets the sack, but the sack doesn't tell the story. He was disruptive all game long. And then you got Taylor, he's unfortunately, whether the totem pole is high, low in importance, I always forget which one's which. He's becoming low man out of that foursome. Now, can he turn it around? Potentially. It just might be getting a little late early for him as a ball player on this particular team. And that might be okay. That might just be like, you know what? Later in the year, he has that kind of run where he gets less snaps, but he's more third down specialist. Just go get the quarterback. Might be how it evolves, and we end up being a better team for it. It will just be interesting to see. That's what the stats are telling us. The eye test is telling us the same. So does Derek Hall get some more love in Cincinnati? What do you think? Do you think they start to peel back and give a little bit more to the rookie?
The thing, and I'd be happy to see that. The thing that baffles me a little bit is watching the way that they use Devin Bush on the field, and he only had 10 snaps in this game. But the way that they lined him up is similar to what we saw from Daryl Taylor's use in college. And I don't know why they aren't shifting him to work more on that weak side linebacker spot, use him, back out in coverage a little bit more. It's just the pass rush side of him, we're not seeing the proficiency that we saw last year. I don't know if there's an issue there. There's other dudes who are doing it better, including Boye Mafe, and I would absolutely rather have him and the potential for growth for Hall. So we're going to have to see what they end up doing with him, but maybe he bounces back after the bye week.
Maybe he does. Like, hey, Julian Love had a rough start to his Seahawks career, and then a little bit better in the game against Detroit. People are still saying not great. Much better against the game against Carolina, and the game against the Giants. He played great. He was, I would say, of all the things we saw that I saw, and I'm sure you did too. We looked fast. We looked fast, man. Like on the replay, they're live. We looked. I tried to get that one in without smiling. We looked really just even on the dump offs. Even like I could sit there and envision. Okay, even if Tua was doing his thing, and the McDaniel offense was humming the way that they can hum, with the D-backs we're deploying, we could mitigate that type of scheme now. Yeah, they might chunk and dink and dunk down the field, but man, were we right on dudes because our speed was legitimate back there. So, like you said, maybe he has a bounce back, and we shall see. But I am ready for that bye week, Brandon. I'm ready to take that bye week, but I'm not ready to there just yet, because while that might have been the 3 ins and the 3 outs, sure, the traditionals, if you will, we have, of course, when we win, not only do we start with an in, thank you again, but we have the brand in. This is your time to shine. It's your time down here, you goonie. So why don't you tell me what you got and serve it to me, and I'm going to sit here and just open my ears and my heart.
Yeah, well, in a game where you could probably find multiple ins that we haven't yet caught, and we'll get to that when we get to our members of the flock who offer their ins and outs. But this cannot go without being noticed in 3 in, 3 out, Adam. And I know, okay, sure, maybe Devin Witherspoon on a day where he has the pick 6 and he has some other successful plays on the field that you feel like he's gotten enough credit for this game. But the thing is, we haven't given Devin Witherspoon enough credit. Second quarter, 6:45 left to go. It is 1st and 10 for the Giants. They're on about the 44-yard line, and it is a handoff to Gary Brightwell Jr. It's blocked up pretty well on the interior. There's actually, I think it might be Adams, or it might be anyway, there's a Seahawks
probably
defender.
My best, yeah, probably Adams if it's a good thing. Yeah,
it could be Mario Addison because he had a great day too. And
Mario Edwards,
Mario Edwards, not Addison, the other Mario. Thank you for the real-time correction. Of Block would be proud. So there's 3 Giants players on the right side blocking. The wide receiver is crashing down to defend, and if Brightwell. So he'll have 2 options. He can kind of cut it up into the interior where I think there's a Seahawks defender who's going to make that play. But it is Devin Witherspoon who splits the receiver who is coming down to block him off of the snap. And then you got Michael Jackson who would then contain the play out on the edge if it's not one of the other guys on the interior. But Witherspoon splits this gap just as Brightwell tries to bounce it outside, and he lays a soul-crushing hit on Gary Brightwell Jr. that puts him right on the ground. It's maybe a 1 yard gain, if that. But for laying the wood on this hit, splitting the defenders, making the tackle, Devin Witherspoon gets the end.
Love it. That's so they're in the flesh, man. The whole stadium was, or all the Seahawks fans were yelling spoon, but most of the folks don't really know him yet. So they're looking around while all the Seahawks fans are screaming spoon. And then by like the 10th time, the 12th time in the game where a quarter of the stadium is going spoon, it's just like, it was kind of cool. People are like, who is this guy? Right. And so it was a coming out party nationally. Although I will say last week on 3 and 3 Out, Brandan, we said last week this was Spoon's coming out party. So I think the national media and frankly, some of the Seahawks podcasters out there are at least a week behind us, which, is kind of feels right.
Coming out party. And I mean, the other cool part about this play, it's not that he was lined up in this spot as a run defender. He's essentially lined up as the nickelback to cover if it is a pass play, but he's off of Bobby Wagner's left hip and just, he recognizes it so quickly that between his speed and quickness is able to get to the ball quickly and keep it to, 0 to no gain, counts as a stop on the day. And just a cool national coming out party day for Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah, the part 2. And the last bit I'll say about that, because you're talking about it, is his positioning near the line of scrimmage. Yeah. That's what's cool about this. Like, Pete Carroll got on, the Seattle sports show the next day that he does, and he talked about like, hey, like when you could bring a guy like that and he could be more involved because he's playing the slot, and then he could deploy him as a blitzer, and he could be more involved in the run fits and the run scheme. Like it's just another way to use a cornerback who is drafted 5th overall, but you get to use him in this box safety fashion. It's you get the double weaponry, and you're calling out a beautiful brand in there that it exactly exemplifies that. So thank you for doing
that. To piggyback on that too, I think part of the issue with and that goes into people's thinking when they think of a nickel corner is that they're thinking of a guy who comes off of the field on some of those base defensive packages. Devin Witherspoon was in the game for 100% of the snaps.
That sounds like most. Yep. That sounds like most snaps.
He and Julian Love were the only 2 players that were on the field 100% of the time on defense. So if Witherspoon was not lined up in the nickel spot that you would traditionally expect your nickel corner to occupy, if he wasn't there, he was lined up on the outside. And then if he wasn't on the outside, it was Michael Jackson who was coming in and taking over the outside spot. So Witherspoon's on the field 100% of the time.
60% of the time it works every time. The Brandan always works. So that's a great job there. We will quickly get to the MVC, folks. So I don't want to say we're gonna breeze right by it. It's too important for that. But the MVC, of course, is the most valuable cranny. I'll put the graphic on stage on screen later for those watching on YouTube. Brandan, I love yours a ton. It's wonderful. However, this is 3 and 3 Out. It's the most valuable cranny. For me, it's got to be Julian Love, off-screen domination, screaming down the field, telling the world his Madden rating should be that much higher, making sure the pick 6 became the pick 6, that Witherspoon's first career interception put the New York Football Giants away in their home field on the biggest national stage. Julian Love gets the MVC, which of course we're going to print, 3D print, and get to the VMAC. Just quickly, did the new filaments come in? Are we finally ready to use the brand new 3D printer?
We had a little bit of a stickage issue with the printing last week, but it's fine. It's fixed. Yes, the new filament should work well. And yes, this very real trophy. See, the cool thing is Devin Witherspoon gets Defensive Player of the Week honors. Yes. And then, so Julian Love is going to be like, well, what am I going to, I had a big part in this win too.
Yes.
And in fact, I think it's probably the more prestigious award that he's going to be showing off in his locker.
I mean, they're both going to have something to show up, but like, which one's a little more unique? For my money, it's the MVC. And for our money, Brandon, we got the folks from the Discord, our favorite part here, the From the Flock section. I would love you to remind the folks if they want to be part of our Discord or the Facebook Ring of Honor or any way they want to support the Seahawkers podcast, what might they do?
You can go to getintheflock.com. We're on our way. We're trying to get to 325 members of the flock. We're just a few folks away. So if you sign up, you can help us get to that goal. And as a reward for becoming a member of the flock, you get into our Discord channel. That's where we hang out on game day. We hang out throughout the week. You'll see articles posted by folks there who just want to highlight some of the great things from our Seahawks throughout the week. It's a fun place to hang out, especially a fun place to hang out on Seahawks game day. And of course, a great place to leave your ins and outs that we're going to recognize here on 3 In, 3 Out.
Very well done. So we may start with an in for the real show, but this one's going to start with an out because he was first. Josh Tehuman in the Discord. He goes out. Daniel Jones's knee. He says some other stuff, but like he's just blame the object. Daniel Jones's knee gets the out for causing the concussion. I happen to agree. Like, screw that knee.
Jeremy Evergreen also starting with an out. Do they not know that when we win, we start with an in? Jeremy says, Adams trying to go low on a running quarterback. Put your shoulder in his chest and take his soul. Yeah, I suppose in hindsight, but as much as we want to get on Adams for tackling low on Jones in the first place, watching this game back, I saw plays where Witherspoon was going at dude's legs too. And it's just, you can't pick one play to say that was the cause, or it was a fluke. I
mean, DBs, they're going to be this. And not that Jamal's a small dude by any means, but they're DBs and safeties. They're smaller than the other monsters on the field, so they're typically going to go low and try and wrap and chop the cherry tree down because that's how they're going to be effective. So unfortunate play there, but let's get to some positives. Carr. She's usually first. So this week, Josh beat her. But Carr's there saying into Nwosu, missing the sack and giving Mario Edwards the chance to get the strip sack fumble. So she's like, oh, he's just being very generous. He's very giving. It's okay. And then Super Mario comes around the edge. That was an explosive play.
Nwosu, the top 3 graded defender by PFF, 3 pressures on the day, 2 sacks, 5 stops on the day. Just one of the best players out there on the field. And yes, a very giving player, knowing that he would have a top stat line, giving the sack fumble to Mario Edwards there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, we got rising Hawkra with the in, badass Bradford making the hole for K9's touchdown, and Noah Fant for Yak yards after the catch.
Great yak, great sack. We had Jason Bonner. He gets the out, or he doesn't get the out. He gives the out. It says K9 going out of bounds. Now, chronologically, I'm like, where does he mean that? Later in the game. Oh, that must be right before the second.
No, this is right before the half.
End of the half, right. Yep, that's right.
It was that weird sequence at the end of the half where each team got multiple possessions where they really didn't need to. K9 going out of bounds there. Yeah, it was and there were 2 times. It was one time right before they punted, and then K9 went out of bounds again, and the broadcasters were like, oh, what is he doing? But then on the very next play, they ran him up the middle, and Pete Carroll took a timeout. So it was like they were trying to give K9 the maximum amount of carries on the ground, seeing that, hey, if the Giants are going to leave a wide open hole, K9's going to run through it and potentially score. And I think they were just trying to give him the maximum amount of opportunities for those types of touches. And yeah, unfortunately he did go out of bounds on that one spot. Probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, no, I recall that now. That's a great call by Jason Bonner. But your point on that is great. Like, it's just a numbers game because he almost broke one. He had one down the right-hand side that he gets, a DB trips him up right towards the end there. If he gets by that last guy, he's probably got a 40-yard scamper. But to your point, you just keep putting the quarters in the machine, and some of those are going to come up Millhouse and pop. So I don't mind, Pete being a little savvy that way. I liked it.
Mark McGuire saying, all I got to say, good luck only picking 3 outs after this first half.
Yeah.
And after a game, you had a heck of a time. Mark recognized it.
Well, the first half too was just sloppy jalopy. It was like, what am I going to go pick on? The fact that we got 1,000. That one driver was like, it's 1st and 10, it's 1st and 20, it's 1st and 25, it's 1st and 22, it's 1st and 25. I was like, what is happening? So
Even out
I
to the
just had
officials. Yeah.
yeah, I had to skip that mentally. We do have DD the G man, which is interesting. In Jordan Brooks spin move on the fumble recovery, smooth. Yeah, that was cool. Big strip sack, the big scoop, the spin move, and then of course the flock coming right to the side of the end zone, which I was right there, Brandon. I was right there.
You were right there. You saw it,
I was
everything live and
I
in
was
person.
I was live. Yeah.
I touched my Bobo with the bye week. I know when it was announced this early, a lot of people groaned and hated it, but my goodness, do we need it now?
Yeah, exactly right. We
And that
talked
was
about
partway through the game that when the
yeah.
injuries were starting to rack up.
And then credit, we didn't even talk about it, but credit where due to Andy Dickerson, credit where due to Evan Brown being like, okay, cool. I'll go
Yeah, I'll
play
play
guard.
guard.
I'll play guard. And, Olu, you'll be good at center. Pretty damn deep team. And I think it shows, which is really cool. Gamer Hawk with the easy one in Spoon, 97-yard pick six. Listen, we'll celebrate that for eons. Gotta love that.
How about back end Bobo bandwagon boy with the alliteration and with the in for Tyler hanging onto that ball for Spoon's first NFL touchdown, just like he did for Bobo. That's our team captain.
That's our captain, man. Love it. All right, we got B-Wags biceps. And remember, B-Wags biceps on PNW Prop Stars. He laid the lumber last week on a Bobo touchdown, and he got 800 to 1 on that. So good job. This time he says, in Bobo, the blocking beast. More alliteration. I just love how he's seizing his opportunities as an undrafted guy. There was a particular play. It's on my sheet. Didn't even make it as an in, but it's a seal block off the edge from Bobo that springs canine, man. He's a darn good blocker. Very exciting weapon out there.
It's almost to the point, though, to where you can follow him and kind of diagnose where the Seahawks might try and run the ball. So hopefully that doesn't end up biting them. But
I
yeah,
like it.
You hope that when he's in and he's just able to spring big blocks.
Yes.
All right, we got right hand Dan with an in for Clint Hurt. These corner blitzes are a thing of beauty.
Yes, they are. And it was sold too, right? That's Witherspoon's first sack. He's just, looking right. He's sizing up the guy in the slot. And it's the timing, which is it's not luck. It's not luck that he timed that the right way. It's football instincts and know-how to be savvy where he disguises it. Daniel Jones has no idea he's coming off the edge, and then blammo. Then he came off the edge. All right, we got Design Pete's Beach House. Of course, Amy, who we love, in a get-right game for the D. Not perfect, but they needed this, and we needed to put them away. And it was pretty darn close to perfect. I know there was, a few warts here or there, but 3 points on the road, Monday Night Football. It's as close to perfect as it gets with 11 sacks.
Gamer Hawk with the in for Drew Lock coming in and getting a score while Gino was out. We mentioned it just briefly on that throw to JSN that Drew Lock was in there. But yeah, how about Drew Lock coming in and helping lead the team down the field while Gino was getting his knee checked out?
Yeah, the hose nose brand did a really good job, and it's just a level of competency that there's such a delta in very many backup QBs in the NFL. We don't want to see anything happen to Gino. I could also say with confidence that I think Drew Lock can win several games if need be, being our quarterback. So he's pretty good out there. JSN in jiggy with it, in improving our stellar record on Monday Night Football.
Thanks to Lisa in Seattle. We also got the biggest little flocker with the in for our first red zone stop. Yeah, the interception by Devin Witherspoon equals the Seahawks' first red zone stop this 2023 season. And for that alone, he deserves Defensive Player of the Week.
100%. We got Randy Horner, of course. He loves the Sunday rubbers on PNW Prop Stars. Says, in sending more than 4 after the QB. In defense showed up front to back and out to penalties and injuries. But Randy's point, B-Wags with 2 sacks. It's just sending dudes up the A and B gap, letting B-Wags just go do the things we talked about the week before. Is like, hey, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. Let's not drop Wagner back into coverage. Let's send Bobby Wagner. And we did send him this game, resulting in 2 sacks. Love seeing that.
We've got Jay in Alaska who unloaded his entire ledger into the Discord. Jay, of course, joining us live after the game, and he was the prize winner of the day for during the live show. So thanks to Jay. Couple of his that I want to pick out. Charbonnet laying the wood again. He put a licking on number 22, the defensive back for the Giants. Also, Bobby Wagner, sack machine. Bobby Wagner on the day. What a day that guy had. A great stat line. Finished on top by PFF in terms of his defensive grade, but 10 stops on the day. He doubled up the next closest Seahawks player. And once again, for those, when I say a stop, the way PFF recognizes those are the tackles where a defender made a really good play to be in the right position at the right time on a play to really keep the yardage. If it's a gain at all, it's a real minimal gain. Bobby Wagner, 10 of those plays and 11 tackles in the game. Just a huge day for Bobby.
Yeah, B-Wags, he's right above my shoulder there on YouTube. There's a reason the man's there. There's a reason the man's in our Discord. Frost, I love this one. He says, in for depth. He gives a lot of examples about our depth there. Brandon, we are the Johnny Depth of the NFL. We got it all this year.
How about Design Pete's Beach House with the inn? Darren Waller completely silent on a day where you wonder if the Giants are going to find a way to get their tight end involved, which we've seen in the past has been a struggle for the Seahawks D. We didn't hear Waller's name called the entire day, did we?
They had 2 catches for minimal yardage, was not a threat. The only dude who I thought could do damage, which I talked about on What If, and I said I'd like to go find some props of this guy, but he was not there, was Wan'Dale Robinson. I said, that's the dude. You could count on it right now, 5 or 6 receptions. So if you see a prop out there for him over 2.5, hammer that. They didn't give that prop. I was mad, but that's the kind of dude that does damage to us. But yeah, shutting down Waller, who's supposed to be their number one and a top tier tight end, nothing doing there. Love seeing that. Love seeing Lloyd Zilla. This is great. Daniel Jones is not our QB. That's
a very, very good in.
Pretty good in.
When you were there live, did you perceive the fact that he was not our quarterback?
Yes, I heard from many Giants fans that they were the opposite, excited that Daniel Jones was their quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. So I deduced.
I know you have a really successful podcast on YouTube. You got to give an out to the Giants for having Daniel Jones as the quarterback. I'm sure you must have heard that live.
That's what happened exactly when I was there live.
James Cronshaw and out. We still can't convert 3rd down, let alone 4th.
Yes, that is all the truths there. We're going to wrap this thing up because, hey, we'd love to get to them all, but we love them all. We just can't get to them all, but we're going to do the thing. We're going to hit the Enter Sandman song. We're going to call in Hawk Van Dyke in. Good on the Hawks for totally dashing my rest theory and taking 2 road games versus teams coming off of mini buys in. Spoon quieting the Jalen Carter noise with an assist from a surprisingly good run defense. Yes, Spoon has 2 sacks, which is more than what Jalen Carter's got, and the pick 6, and our 5th overall pick is looking mighty fine, Brandon.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.